Ring tier list for Moco Chapter 2, and to kick us off, we have got the major weapon ring. And this ring increases your weapon damage and gives weapon attacks a chance to deal 3-time damage. And I'm just going to put that right in S tier, guys, because it's a really good ring. Like, speed shot is the meta, fires super quick. This ring's great with that. It's just a great ring, and I think it's just worthy of S tier because of these abilities like you get with the ring. So I'm going to be putting that in S tier for the first ring. And do bear in mind, I'm like level 85 or so time of recording this video. So my stats are going to be higher. But it's quite tricky doing this ring tier list because of the minor rings. I didn't know whether to do 2 tier lists for the minor rings and 1 for the major rings, or just like put them all in 1 tier list. But I've just went to put them all in 1 tier list, guys. So again, let me know your thoughts with this tier list in the comments as well, hunters, because, you know, sometimes get it wrong. And then we've got the minor weapon ring, and I'm just going to put this in C tier because, like you say, the major weapon ring so much better. You get the crit chance. With the minor one, you get the health, the additional health, but you've just got the weapon damage. It is reduced weapon damage with the minor ring, but like the rings this season is so weird because, like, why would you use minor rings apart from the exception of maybe 1 or 2 of them now and again? Once you've unlocked all the major weapon rings, you're going to use them more often than not. So I think it's a bit weird going with the minor rings. I think they do need a rework again for Chapter 3. But nonetheless, we're going to put the minor weapon ring in C tier because it's not totally useless. Do you know what I mean, hunters? It's still pretty decent. You do get increased weapon damage, increase your health. I mean, you maybe use this one if you're doing something where you're using a spinsicle, for example. So you're up close and personal. So you get that increased health. So next up is the major gadget ring. Increases your gadget damage and gives gadget attacks a chance to deal 3 times damage. And this one's going right in S tier because, like I said before, I'm like level 85, so my ring's 84. And I get an additional 53.3% damage, 17.6% crit chance. And it's just an all-round awesome ring, guys. Honestly, it's great for well farming, it's great for risks, great for dojos. Absolutely fantastic ring. And this is one of the rings you're probably going to use more inside of Moco Chapter 2. And then we've got the minor gadget ring, and slightly increase your gadget damage and your health, but you still get a good boost to your gadget damage. And you can pair it with the major gadget ring as well. So I'm going to put this in A tier. I'd probably put this in low A tier. But obviously, it looks top of A tier because it's the only one there at the moment. Because like I say, you can pair it with the major gadget ring to get increased gadget damage. And it does buff your health. Can be useful in certain scenarios. Probably one of the, if not the best minor ring inside the game. Then moving on to the major passive ring, and increase your passive damage and gives passive attacks a chance to deal 3 times damage. I'm going to put this in S tier, probably in the middle of the major weapon ring and the major gadget ring. I still think the major gadget ring is better. This ring, it's a fantastic ring. Like I said before, the speed shot's in meta, and you can use a speed shot, you can use the beam and laser with this ring, and it's just a great ring for racking them numbers up. Like you say, the speed shot's a high fire weapon. So you're going to get the chance for your passives to proc, and then the additional damage coming in off them. It's just a fantastic ring. So like these 3 rings are probably like the 3 rings you're going to use most, I feel, in Moco Chapter 2. So I'm putting the major passive ring right into S tier with the major gadget ring and the major weapon ring. And then we have the minor passive ring, and slightly increase your passive damage and your health. And again, this isn't totally useless. I'm going to put this in C tier as well. You know, you do get the increased passive damage, not as much as the major, and it does give you a bit of health. Again, maybe use this with the spinsicle while you're up close and personal. With the speed shot, you don't really need the health because you're using some sort of health gadget or maybe a passive. And if you're doing this, you've got a tank healing you, so you don't really need the additional health in most cases. It's not totally useless. You know, you might get some use out of it. But I'm just going to put it in C tier for now. Is it better than the weapon ring, minor weapon ring? I think so. I'll put it ahead of the minor weapon ring. And then we have the major healing ring. Increases all healing you and your pets do and gives them a chance to restore 3 times as much health. Not a ring I use much, but I don't tank that much. So I don't really know where to put this. And this is by far, out of the tier list I've done, guys, this has been the hardest one for me to do. But like, again, I might change it slightly at the end. And I think I put it in S tier. It's only because when you're doing the nightmarish and things, obviously you've got a tank. His job is to heal you guys as well as heal himself. And these additional values with the ring come in so useful for healing everyone and yourself inside of the rifts. So I'm going to put it at the end of S tier so far, because I think the other 3 rings are better. Rings that you do use more inside of the game. So the major healing ring going low S tier. Then we have the minor healing ring. Slight increases all healing you and your pets do, and increases your health. Again, not totally useless, because it does increase your total health. So that could come in useful if you're doing something inside the game where you are getting one shot by a boss, just to give you that little bit of health buff, so you're not getting totally one shot. Maybe not totally useless. I don't think it's F tier worthy. I think I'm going to put this one in C tier as well. I do think it is maybe worse than the other 2. I've got ahead of it in C tier. But like I say, it's what you're doing is tier list with minor rings and major rings. I'm going to stick it in C tier for now. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, hunters. Then we have the major health ring. Increase your health and all healing you and your pets receive. And again, I'm going to put this in A tier. I think probably above the minor gadget ring, because again, tanks use this ring inside of rifts and stuff, and it is a very, very useful ring. Because obviously when you're doing a nightmare rifts and stuff, you're using the mist and the splash heal and things. This ring's going to let you heal yourself more, stop you dying more frequently inside of the rifts. So I really think it is a really good ring. I don't know if it's quite S tier. I'm going to put it top of A tier for now, but like I said, I might change it slightly at the end of the tier list. So moving on to the minor health ring. Slightly increase your health and gives a chance to dodge enemy attacks. And I think this is one of the better minor rings, because this can come in useful even at a higher level. And plus, as you level up these rings, don't forget guys, these percentage chances are going to go up. So I think I might put this in B tier, because it increases your total health pool and it gives you a percentage chance to dodge, which can come in really useful if they proc. You know, I've been using it in world farming a little bit with the spintacle and things, and that dodge chance is pretty nice. But as like I said, as these rings increase in level, some of the rings are going to get more effective. That's why it's a bit tricky doing the tier list as well, because I'm like level 85, but if I come back and do one at like level 150, some of these placements might change because the percentage chances are going to increase, which make them a lot more effective. So I'm going to put the minor health ring in B tier for now, you know, because I still think out of the minor rings, especially for tank plays and stuff, this might get used than the other 3 that I've got below it. And then we have the major pet ring. Increases the damage of your pets and gives them a chance to deal 3 times damage. And you know something, like this ring, the stats on this ring are really good. Like they're really, really OP. But the problem is, it isn't a pet meta. Yes, we have the turret, which is classed as a pet, but then the other rings are better paired with the turret, because they increase the damage of yourself with your speed shot bow. Like I said, speed shot is meta. So you wouldn't really sacrifice this ring slot just for the turret when you can get like a buff of other rings for yourself and your turret. So I'm going to have to put this one in F tier. It's like I said, it's a great ring in its own regard. It's got great stats, but we just can't use it inside the game at the moment. So it's a bit of a pointless ring. Do you know what I mean, guys? If the boost kill had a 10% nerf instead of the hefty nerf it did receive, and that was still prevalent inside the game, this ring would be really good. It is a really good ring. It has got really good stats, but the problem is, got no pets inside the game. We do use the chicken passive, really good passive, but they're just there to distract. They're not there to really deal damage in most cases. And again, the minor pet ring, you're increasing your pet damage and increasing your health. You lose on that critical chance, but again, we're not really using pets inside of the game, hunters. So I'm going to put that in F tier as well. But not a bad ring. I don't know why you would wear this ring, to be honest, instead of the major pet ring. This is what I mean with the rings. I think they need reworked again for chapter 3. Yeah, if you're going to use the minor pet ring, you're going to use the boost kill. This increases your health. The boost kill is a melee weapon, so it may become useful, but like, you're sacrificing the crit chance and things for the major pet ring. Just isn't worth it, so I'm going to have to put this one in F tier. Then we've got the major pet health ring. Increase the health of your pets and all healing you and your pets receive. Again, not a bad ring if we had more pets inside the game. Pet gadgets, passive and things. He's a decent little ring, but we don't use pets, like I said with the other major pet rings, guys. We're not using pets, so it's just gonna have to go in F tier for me for now. And the same with the minor pet ring. And these rings, the major pet ring and the minor pet ring, there's not much difference in them, I don't think, because you're increasing your health with the minor pet ring, but you're increasing the health received with the major pet ring, and you're also increasing the health for yourself with the minor pet ring. So I can see a use case between these two. It's one of the only ring sets inside the game between the major and the minor. I don't think there's massive difference. Do you know what I mean? But we're not using pets, so I'm going to have to put them in F tier. Sorry, guys. So moving on to the major damage ring. Increase all damage you and your pet deal. Now, mine's at 25.9%, and that is quite a hefty bump up in damage. But you can only equip 3 rings, and this normally doesn't get equipped, but sometimes does. But like I said before, earlier in the video, do we put that top of A tier? Like I said before, earlier in the video, as you increase your level, increase your rings, these percentages are going to get higher. So imagine if you're like level 150, and this damage ring goes up to like 40% damage increase. That is a hefty increase. So I'm going to put this in A tier, because it does come in useful. You can use it with the turret. Like I said before, you don't have to use the pet ring to buff the turret. You can use the major damage ring instead if you want some damage there. Then it's also increasing the damage of everything. So it is a quite good ring. It's quite versatile inside a Moco. So I'm going to put that in A tier as well. And then we have the minor damage ring. Slightly increase all damage you and your pets deal and your health. So you're getting like half the damage increase, but you're getting, on my ring, 35% health increase. And again, you probably use this if you were using a melee weapon, but melee's weapons aren't that prevalent inside of the game. So I'm going to put that in C tier, low C tier, because I can't see why you would pick this ring over the major damage ring. That's one of these instances where the rings feel weird. Why have a... Yeah, they're trying to buff the health pool, but like you say, like when you're playing Rifts, you normally have a tank with heals and things. So you might as well put the major damage ring on and get double the damage output. But it is better than the pet rings. You're going to probably use it more if you were going to use it. So I'm going to put it in C tier for now. So moving on to the ring I'm struggling with the most in this tier list is the major crit ring. And you and your pets gain a chance to deal 3 times damage on all attacks. You know, and you can say my ring level is level 83, but I'm only getting a 13.7% proc chance. But when it does proc, man, this ring, it's so good. But the trade-off is it's a low proc chance, guys. It's really good with AoE gadgets and things, because obviously you're eating a lot of enemies in one go. And again, great with fast fire weapons like the speed shot, because you're getting a lot of shots off, which means like you're going to get a higher chance of getting a proc chance with the crits. So I'm going to put this in S tier for now. I'll put it above the major healing ring. But again, this is one of these rings as the level increases. It's level 83. Just say you get to like level 120, and the proc chances maybe like, what, 20-something%. It's quite a hefty difference. And like I said before, some of these rings are just going to get better with level. And this is one of them. But it's such a low proc chance, and you're thinking, should I risk getting the crits if I'm trying to do a dojo, or swap it for something else? Like the minor gadget ring. You know, it's always one of them things. But this ring, when it works really, really, really well. Could be at the top of S tier if it was a higher percentage chance. But sometimes it doesn't, because the proc chance is so low. So I'm super torn with this major crit ring. But I'm going to put it in S tier behind these 3, because I still think these 3 are probably better. Because, you know, you've got the percentage damage increase there. Whereas you're relying on a small chance with the major crit ring. But when it does work, fantastic. So I'm going to put that in S tier for now. And again, the minor crit ring, this is another one of these rings that I just think's pointless. Because you and your pets gain a small chance to deal 3 times damage on all attacks and increase your health. But the crit chance is only, you can see my ring's level 82. The crit chance is only 6.8%. Yeah, I get the 34.8% increase in health with an 82 level minor crit ring. But I just don't know why you would put that on over the major crit ring. It's just one of these pointless rings. So I'm going to put that in F tier. And I'm going to put it in front of the pet rings. And then we're moving on to another 2 rings that I just feels weird inside of the game. And it's the major execution ring. And you and your pets deal more damage to enemies below 20% health. And you can say my ring is level 82. I'm getting an 86.8% damage increase to enemies below 20% health. And I just don't know why you would use this ring. I don't know why you would sacrifice a ring slot. Because you're going to, you know what I mean? This ring only comes into play when the enemies are 20% health. So you're missing out on all that other percentage damage that you could be doing with the other rings, if that makes sense. So I'm going to put this in F tier, along with the minor one. actually behind the crit ring, because you could stack the crit rings and get better damage, I feel. So I'm going to put them there like that, because I like the concept. It just isn't fitting inside the game with the current rings we have. So it is the finalized version of the tier list. I have done a little change, and like I said at the start of the video, I might do. I've bumped the major health ring into S tier above the major healing ring. You know, it could be a toss-up between them two, but you need them two rings equipped, guys, for the tanks, for the nightmarish and things. You've just got to have them equipped. And I've bumped the minor healing ring up from C tier into B tier as well, because the tank does equip 3 rings. You probably have one of them 2 rings equipped. Obviously, they're not as good as the other rings above them, but you are going to need a 3rd ring for the tanks inside the nightmarish and things. So I've bumped that up to B tier. That is going to be my final tier list. Some of these, I think we're going to need another rework, guys, for Chapter 3 with the rings, because some of these just don't work. And I just don't get it with the minor rings, you know what I mean? I just think, take the minor rings out and replace them with different rings. You know, put a bit of thought process into new rings and replace the majority of the minor ones, I feel. But again, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll catch you in the next video, hunters.